This is the WJTS News. Good evening, I'm Charlotte Olson. A Greene County woman faces a pair of charges after she was involved in a domestic situation Monday night in Huntingburg. Around 11 p.m. last night, Huntingburg police were called to a residence located along the 500 block of Washington Street after receiving a report of a woman who refused to leave the property. Police say when they arrived on the scene, they learned that 24-year-old Heather Jarrell of Linton had strangled her wife in the presence of two young children. Jarrell was taken into custody and charged with domestic battery committed in the presence of children and strangulation. She was taken to and, of course, booked into the DuBois County Security Center. Huntingburg police were assisted by deputies with the DuBois County Sheriff's Department. An accident involving a motorcycle in Huntingburg Monday afternoon ended with the arrest of a Huntingburg woman on a charge of operating while intoxicated. Huntingburg police say that around 5:15 p.m. yesterday, they arrived at the scene of a Class B motorcycle accident at the intersection of 17th and Main Streets, where they made contact with the bike's operator, 21-year-old Rochelle Morris of Huntingburg. Police say they could tell that Morris was complaining of pain to her hip area and that she had been drinking sometime prior to the accident. After conducting a field sobriety test on Morris, police confirmed that she was under the influence of alcohol. Memorial Hospital EMS were called in to treat Morris for her hip pain, after which she was taken to Memorial for a chemical test, which found her to have a blood alcohol content of 0.12%. She was then taken to and booked into the DuBois County Security Center in Jasper on a charge of OWI. A Martin County man was taken into custody on drug charges Monday afternoon after he told police he was driving recklessly due to a passenger having a medical emergency. Jasper police say just before 2 p.m. on Monday they received word that a vehicle with its hazard lights flashing was passing other vehicles in a reckless manner while northbound on US 231 in Jasper. Officers pulled over the vehicle at the intersection of 6th and Dorbert Streets in Jasper, and the driver, 37-year-old Shane Fellers of Lagodi, told police that his passenger was experiencing a medical emergency. Officers then allowed the vehicle to continue to Memorial Hospital, and once at Memorial, officers found that Fellers' license was suspended. A police canine unit then indicated the presence of a controlled substance in the vehicle. Officers conducted a search and found 3 grams of crystal meth, used syringe, drug paraphernalia, and a Schedule IV controlled substance. Fellers was charged with dealing meth, possession of hydrometric needles, and possession of controlled substance and possession of paraphernalia. He was also cited for driving while suspended. Fellers was taken to and booked into the DuBois County Security Center. A Pike County man was taken into custody late last week on multiple charges after he was pulled over by Indiana conservation officers. Around 1 p.m. last Friday, a pair of conservation officers were patrolling property around the Pike State Forest when they noticed a man driving a maroon-colored minivan with an infant on his lap. Authorities say that the child was unrestrained, which of course is a violation of state law. The driver of the minivan was identified as 35-year-old Nathaniel Willis of Otwell. Officers say that during the traffic stop, paraphernalia, a Legend drug infection device, and a firearm were found. They also discovered that the van had expired motor vehicle registration and false fictitious plates. Willis was charged with each violation and was also charged with the neglect of dependent. The child was placed in the care of Child Protective Services. Willis was lodged in the Pike County Jail without incident. A Knox County teen is facing multiple charges after driving a stolen vehicle and crashing it into the Daviess County while fleeing authorities. Indiana State Police said at approximately 4:30 Monday afternoon, a subject stole a Ford Ranger pickup truck from a gas station located at 6th Street and Old Wheatland Road in Vincennes. Moments after the stolen vehicle was dispatched by Vincennes City Police, a trooper with the Indiana State Police spotted it on U.S. Highway 50 west of Wheatland. Police say an attempt to stop the vehicle was made as it traveled east on U.S. 50, but the driver, 18-year-old Austin X of Vincennes, refused to stop and accelerated to approximately 95 miles per hour. Police say X attempted to turn south on State Road 57, but lost control and struck a crossover SUV that was stopped on State Road 57 in the left turn lane south of US 50. After impact, police say that the SUV was pushed into a passenger car that was stopped on 57 in the northbound lane. The car was then pushed into a pickup that was stopped in the right turn lane south of US 50. 2 of the drivers and 2 passengers were taken to the Daviess County Hospital, where they are currently being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the pickup was not injured, and X was taken to the Daviess County Hospital for a neck injury, but he was released and taken to the Knox County Jail, where he is currently being held on bond on charges of resisting the law enforcement, theft, and reckless driving. An inmate at the Daviess County Security Center is at large after he escaped from the Daviess County Hospital while he was being treated. Just before 11 o'clock last night, the Daviess County Sheriff's Office received a call from the hospital advising that the inmate had escaped through a second-story window of the facility. Officers conveyed the area but were unable to locate the inmate. The inmate's name is 23-year-old Shane Michael Allen Cates. Cates is a 5 foot 8 inch tall and weighs about 160 pounds. Authorities say he has brown hair and also has hazel eyes. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Cates is asked to contact the Daviess County Sheriff's Department at 812-254-1060. Of course, anonymous calls and/or tips are accepted. For more information, log on to the department's website at dcsheriff.com. The South Spencer School Board chose an alumnus to take over the reins as the district's new superintendent, as 1988 South Spencer High School graduate Richard Rutherford was named to the position during this board's monthly meeting last week. Rutherford attended Western Kentucky University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education. He then earned a master's degree from Indiana Wesleyan. Rutherford earned his administrative credentials from Indiana State University and then his doctorate for superintendent credentials from Oakland City University. He has taught 5th grade for 12 years at Vigo Elementary and was the principal at Washington Elementary for 1 year. He's also served as a principal at Franklin Elementary for 7 years, and for the past 2 years he served as principal of Alternative Education Program for the Vincennes School Corporation, where he dealt mostly with middle and high school students throughout that year. Rutherford has been living and working in Vincennes for the past 23 years, and his wife Lindsay have 3 daughters. He will serve as the assistant superintendent from March 1st through June 30th, where he will then assume full superintendent status starting on July the 1st. Make sure to keep it right here, because up next we're going to take a look at your weather summary.